It's like I'm gonna slam on my floor for 30 days. Or no, I'm gonna slam on my floor for years in the same spot. Obviously, I'm going to cause damage on that floor. I don't know why I'm using that as the example. We'll use the wall. I'm gonna run head first into a wall, body first into a wall for like years. And I'm gonna start causing structural damage. But then I'm gonna stop doing it for 30 days. Now, the wall is kind of self-healing, so it's going to start healing a little bit and getting better and getting better. But then, once the 30 days are over, I'm going to go back to slamming. It's still going to cause damage. Okay, tell me about the magic of biology. Hello, everyone. How's it going? It's a nicely, ooh, that's very hot. It's a nicely cold day in October, and we are going to do some research. So this is like a study with me session, except we're not both sitting here quietly listening to ambient music and studying together. We are actually studying a video together. I'm going to go through this video that was actually sent to me the other day, and I noticed I was watching the video and I found it to be interesting, but about 4 minutes in I realized I had no idea what was going on. And I think it's because there was just a lot of science being thrown at me, and I'm sitting in my kitchen and I'm not retaining what's going on. I'm visually entertained. I'm kind of getting some basic idea of what they're trying to say, but I'm not really understanding what's going on. So I said, all right, let's sit down. I need to sit and just, chunk it out. Push pause, what are they saying? Push play, watch a little more. Push pause, what are they saying? Push play, watch a little more. Repeat that cycle. So I figure I would do that with you so that, you can get the benefit of what I'm learning today. And maybe this is something you can do for yourself. So, trying to set a good example and all that. So let's open up the screen. By the way, hello if you're new. My name's Ariel. It's nice to meet you. There's nothing more you need to know than that. Hi, my name's Ariel. Oh, yes, and sometimes I'm going to be checking things with ChatGPT, and people are going to be like, Ariel, ChatGPT just tells you what you want to hear, blah, blah, blah. Guys, that's what normal people are going to be doing, and I really like to do things through a normal person perspective. So, if you see a mistake that GPT has made, leave it in the comments, okay? You are going to fact check me and GPT. But if you spend the comment time telling me about how much you don't like GPT or how much I should not like GPT, that will be a waste of your energy. I already know. Okay? Okay, let's go.
Imagine your kidneys as two silent bodyguards, filtering nearly 50 gallons of blood every single day. Now, when sugar enters the scene, these bodyguards are forced to work overtime. Excess sugar doesn't just raise your blood glucose, it subtly alters the filtration system, making your kidneys handle more waste than they were designed for. Over time, this extra pressure can quietly damage their structure. Science shows that
Okay, so that I think was the introduction section where they're trying to tell you what we're going to talk about. What we're saying is your kidneys are supposed to protect you by filtering out stuff. When you put in excess sugar, your kidneys, the filters start to break, and they are handling more than they can take, so they break down. They're not as strong as they should be, so you're not as protected as you could be. Okay.
Science shows that high sugar intake increases the risk of glomerular hyperfiltration, a condition where the kidneys filter too much blood. It may sound like they're doing a better job, but in reality, it's like revving your car engine at maximum speed all day long. Eventually, parts start to wear out.
Glomerular hyperfiltration is, I think, what he said. So what is glomerular hyperfiltration? It's like revving your engine too much. All right, so I spelled glomerular hyperfiltration wrong thank you, GPT. But so basically what they're saying here is that sugar causes your body to have to filter too much blood. Your kidneys specifically, to have to filter too much blood, which you'd think, okay, fine. Like if I have a sieve, like a pasta strainer, like you're holding a pasta strainer and you're pouring water through the strainer, you're like, oh, I could pour as much water as I want through this strainer. You get like that metal kind or steel kind. You can pour as much as you want through it. Nothing's going to change. The strainer is going to stay fine. It's not going to break or anything. I could like set that thing up, set the strainer, let the water go through for days, and it won't have a problem. What they're saying is your kidneys aren't like that. If you filter too much through them, they break down. You're using them too much. So it's almost like if you picture that steel strainer, if you put too much water through it, maybe over long periods of time, the steel is going to start degrading and getting thinner or cracking. And so what we're saying is if you take in too much sugar, your body is going to start over filtering blood through your kidneys, which is going to lead to kidney damage.
Eventually, parts start to wear out. Most people never notice the damage early on. That's the scary part. Your kidneys don't send warning signals until they are already struggling. Quitting sugar, even for 30 days, gives these organs a much-needed break, like finally letting your bodyguards rest after years of endless overtime. But here...
Okay. So you could wear on your kidneys for a very, very long time, but your body's not going to send signals. I would be curious if how accurate that is, or if we're just not seeing the signals. Maybe we don't know what the signals are. Like how do they know that the kidneys aren't telling you they have problems? Something that comes up a ton in the carnivore diet or elimination diets is that you're not... the signals that your body is giving that it doesn't like something become very quiet when you're eating this a mixed diet or maybe a highly processed diet. But when you start removing all of them, your body the theory that I subscribe to is that your body has more ability to speak to you because you're lessening the noise. And so I wonder if your kidneys really aren't telling you, or if we just don't know how to identify the signals. That'd be really hard to scientifically test for, especially since this is supposed to be something that like your kidneys are supposed to be able to take wear and tear for what seems to be years. They don't specify, do they? Yeah, they don't say. So they don't say how long it takes. Maybe they will say how long it takes. I'd be surprised if your body doesn't send any warning signals. It would be more believable to me that we haven't identified what those warning signals are. I also think it's interesting that they're saying going away from sugar for 30 days gives your body a much needed break. 30 days is a pretty short time. What is getting repaired here? Like what mechanisms or components of your kidneys are getting stressed to the point where you can... just taking away 30 days of sugar is helpful for them. Maybe it's about your body's ability to repair. This is more me asking follow-up questions. And if I was actually going to do real investigative research on this, I would be taking notes of all of these follow-up questions because I would want to know, where does this element, this claim come from? But yeah, anyway.
But here's the real twist. What happens in just the first...
I love an AI videos. Look at that top of that calendar. Monday, Wednesday, some version of Monday, Pi Day, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Like, I just love computers and when they have to write letters. Sorry.
But here's the real twist. What happens in just the first few days without sugar might surprise you more than what happens after the full month. The first 72 hours are often the hardest. Many people experience headaches, mood swings, and cravings because the brain is suddenly deprived of its favorite quick fuel, glucose spikes from sugar.
What they're saying is that in the first 72 hours that you cut out sugar, you're going to have headaches, mood swings. It's going to feel like a withdrawal process. And their reasoning is that your body is losing its favorite quick fuel source. It's very interesting. This is not me having a scientifically based opinion. It's just something I think about. What we're describing here is very similar to withdrawal. And you'll feel this withdrawal when you take away caffeine. But people feel also this withdrawal when they take away alcohol or drugs. It's like anybody who's gone through sobriety in any form, even if you're like, oh, I'm just gonna, go a week without something that I've been having at like a lot of in the past, you're gonna experience withdrawal symptoms or you have experienced withdrawal symptoms. But I would not say that your body particularly loves caffeine, alcohol, drugs that you're putting in it. Like, they're not like, man, they're taking away my favorite source of fill in the blank, you know? But because your body processes glucose first, we've attached this term favorite to it. You know, it's like it's going to burn glucose before it burns fat. That's what from what I've put together, that's the why we call it favorite, is the body burns the glucose first and then it burns the fat. You have to take away the glucose in order for the body to start burning the fat. But that word favorite, it's like, but I don't think alcohol is its favorite, but you would still be going through the same symptoms as you would if you were getting rid of sugar or glucose. So maybe favorite is a misnomer, a name that's not correct. That's me as a nobody. Just if you have a better answer to that, feel free to leave it, because it doesn't fully track this word favorite. It doesn't really I don't love it. It doesn't. I'm not sold on it. Okay, I'm just not sold on it. Continue talking to me about glucose.
From sugar. But while your brain complains, your kidneys are quietly celebrating. The sudden drop in sugar means less pressure on the filtration system almost immediately. Studies reveal that reducing sugar lowers the amount of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, molecules that accelerate kidney aging. Within just days, the blood becomes cleaner and your kidneys start working more efficiently.
Okay, so even though you're going through these withdrawal symptoms, your body's cool because
Drop in sugar means less pressure on the filtration system almost immediately.
the pressure on the filtration system goes down. So we've got that strainer, the water's going through it. We've closed the tap a little bit, so there's less of a rush of water going through it. There's less of a rush of blood going through your kidneys, okay?
Studies reveal that reducing sugar lowers the amount of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, molecules that accelerate kidney aging. Within just days, the blood becomes cleaner and your kidneys start working more efficiently.
I think the reason this section confuses me is that I don't know where these AGEs are. Are these being created in the kidneys? Are these floating around in the blood? I think what they're trying to say is that these things they reduce, and so it's easier to filter. But this is where I get confused on these kinds of videos, because I'm like, what is an AGEs? This is, I think, where a lot of people get tripped up in understanding pieces of scientific literature or just complicated text. Something that I think a lot of the people who would get, like, you know, C's and D's and F's on their papers, one thing that I think happens is that when we're trying to take in the information that's being taught to us, if you hit a point where we don't understand what's going on, like these guys are talking about this, what are they called?
Advanced glycation end products.
They're talking about advanced glycation end products. Now, before this point, I was understanding what was going on. They bring up these advanced glycation end products, and I cannot understand what's being told to me. I can't visualize anymore. I'm not, the puzzle pieces were all fitting together, and now I feel like I've got a puzzle piece that I can't fit into the puzzle. What happens is, at this point, because my brain cannot digest what they're telling me here, everything after this gets harder to understand. It's like you've blown out one of my tires, and I'm going to try to drive forward. And in a way, I can drive forward because that wheel is still rotating, but I am bumping along at this point. I am not making progress. And every time you add another thing I don't understand, you've blown out another one of my tires. And I think when it comes to studying, if you struggle with studying, really pay attention and take your time, allow for the time to sit and understand and pause when you don't understand. So take the time to say, okay, I'm going through, I get it, wait. I don't get this one. Don't pass go when you don't get it. You know, sit and try to unwrap it and unravel it, because if you try to pass by the thing you don't understand, you're creating like a clog, and your mind's going to have a harder time understanding what comes next. And that's why I sit with this stuff and I press play and I press pause and I press play and I press pause, because if I get stuck on one concept, the rest of the video, the rest of the text, it's going to be way harder to understand. It's going to be way harder for me to get back on track. So, with that speech said, this enzymes thing, I don't really get it. And I'm going to be honest, if I was investigating this, using this as an investigative piece to research off of, I would just put to the side, need to look into this. Another thing you could do if you're trying to get through a paper is just note when you get lost on a concept. Write to the side, I don't understand this concept, or further research needed on this concept. That might allow your brain to open up the space to let it go and move forward. But be aware that if it comes up later, if that concept comes up later, you're not going to have the data you needed, because you said, okay, I'm going to deal with it later instead of dealing with it right now. So you might then need to look it up. So anyway, at this point, I'm just going to skip past this ages thing. If it comes up later and it's important, we'll return to it.
Here's a fact most people don't know. Every time you consume sugary drinks or desserts, your kidneys must filter the excess glucose from your bloodstream. Unlike fats or proteins, sugar spikes hit fast, and the kidneys act like sponges, absorbing the overflow. Over years, this repeated overload damages the delicate nephrons, the microscopic filters inside your kidneys. Think of it like a coffee filter. Use it once, it works perfectly. But if you keep pouring sticky syrup instead of water, the filter clogs and weakens. This is essentially what high sugar diets do to your kidneys. Researchers from Harvard found that people who regularly consume high amounts of added sugar are at a significantly greater risk of chronic kidney disease, or CKD.
All right. This whole section feels like an elaboration on what he was saying in the beginning. And I liked the imagery of the coffee filter that's getting clogged up, because I pictured like you're trying to put honey through a coffee filter. There was one important thing that they threw in that was like fats and proteins don't do this.
Unlike fats or proteins, sugar spikes hit fast.
So if you take away, okay, so he says, unlike fats and proteins, sugar spikes hit fast, right? That's what he said. So fat and protein does not hit your kidneys fast, is what he's trying to say. This is the problem I have with it. What does that even mean? This is the problem I have with this video right now, and a lot of scientific simplification videos. What does this mean? We just threw in something that I don't have context for. What do you mean fats and proteins hit fast, or sugar hits fast and fats and proteins don't? Fats and proteins, are you telling me that fats and proteins are also in my blood, but they're moving slowly through my blood? Are we saying okay, I got caught in it. I'm just going to skip that part too. But again, these are the little things, they trip us up. But really, this section was just further elaborating on the fact that the more sugar you put in, the harder it is for your kidneys to process the high levels of glucose, sugar, that is going through them. And it's damaging because it's over processing. It's working too hard. You're giving it more than it's supposed to handle.
Even if you're young and feel healthy, the silent accumulation of sugar damage can start decades earlier than symptoms appear. The frightening...
Decades. That's important. We asked that question earlier. How long is this taking? You could be doing damage for decades and your body won't tell you. How does your body tell you? Maybe that's the problem, is that we know how it tells you when it's emergency, but we don't know how it's telling you on a regular basis. Anyway, okay, decades.
The frightening truth? Many people discover kidney issues only after 70% of function is already gone. Cutting sugar now is like choosing prevention over regret. Sugar doesn't just mess with your blood glucose, it also hijacks your blood pressure. When you eat too much sugar, insulin levels rise, which signals your kidneys to retain sodium and water. The result? higher blood pressure, swelling, and strain on the kidney's blood vessels.
So if insulin goes up because you have too much sugar, we're putting more blood pressure, so everything's working harder to pump that blood. There's more force, and then you're getting swelling in your body. You can tell by this little man's belly swelling, and then constriction on the blood vessels.
And strain on the kidney's blood vessels.
Strain on the kidney's blood vessels. Okay.
It's like turning down the volume in a noisy room. Suddenly, the kidneys can work in peace.
Okay.
Now let's talk about some.
Reduce the sugar, reduce the strain on your kidneys. Happier kidneys, less risk of kidney disease.
Now let's talk about something painful. Kidney stones.
Oh.
Most people blame salt or dehydration, but sugar is a sneaky culprit. A study in the Journal of Urology found that people with the highest sugar intake had a significantly higher risk of developing kidney stones compared to those who consumed less.
Okay, so this is another topic, kidney stones. If I was doing in-depth research, I would be putting this aside, get a better understanding of kidney stones. I don't know much about kidney stones and how they work, but what we're saying is sugar increases your chances of kidney stones, based on this journal here. And great, okay.
It's not just about soda. It's cakes, candies, and even healthy juices packed with hidden sugars. Imagine 30 days of discipline sparing you years of excruciating pain. That's the kind of trade your kidneys will thank you for.
That sounds great, but I don't get how it works. How does it 30 days and then just go back to your normal way of doing things? It's like I'm gonna slam on my floor for 30 days. Or no, I'm gonna slam on my floor for years in the same spot. Obviously, I'm going to cause damage on that floor. I don't know why I'm using that as the example. We'll use the wall. I'm gonna run head first into a wall, body first into a wall for like years. And I'm gonna start causing structural damage. But then I'm gonna stop doing it for 30 days. Now, the wall is kind of self-healing, so it's going to start healing a little bit and getting better. But then, once the 30 days are over, I'm going to go back to slamming. It's still going to cause damage. Part of this session is just to be able to ask questions. Part of what I do, spending my day researching, is I watch something and then just write down all the questions I have. Most things have me ask more questions than they answer.
When sugar leaves your diet, your kidneys start something remarkable. Self-repair.
Haha!
These organs have a limited ability to regenerate, and studies suggest that reduced sugar intake lowers inflammation, allowing nephrons, the kidney's tiny filters, to recover function. Think of it as a construction crew repairing a city after years of constant traffic damage. When the roads are no longer hammered by overload, workers can finally patch cracks and reinforce weak areas. Your kidneys work in a similar way, taking advantage of the sugar-free break to restore balance. One of the earliest signs of this recovery is a drop in protein leakage in the urine, a red flag for kidney damage. With sugar out of the picture, this leakage often decreases, showing that the filtration barrier is strengthening.
Basically what they're saying is a sign that you've got kidney damage is you're filtering out protein through your urine.
This leakage often decreases, showing that the filtration barrier is strengthening. If sugar is gasoline, diabetes is the wildfire.
Whoa.
When you quit sugar for 30 days, your insulin sensitivity often improves. That means your body needs less insulin to handle glucose, protecting both your pancreas and your kidneys.
I'm really into this, what they're talking about here about reducing your sugar. I'm just very confused that this 30 days things keeps coming up. Like yeah, if you've got an insulin resistance going on in your body and you take out sugar, and they're saying you get more insulin sensitive, but like they're not talking about what you do after those 30 days. Anyway, also enjoying that insulin is spelled inskuin at the top there.
Handle glucose, protecting both your pancreas and your kidneys. It's a chain reaction of healing. Researchers have found that even moderate reductions in sugar intake can significantly lower the risk of progressing from prediabetes to type 2 diabetes.
I want to point out really quickly there, they did not say moderate reduction over 30 days. Moderate reduction in general. Moderate reduction every single day. This is like just classic medical text, pre-diabetes. If you don't want to progress to type 2 diabetes, we got to get those sugars levels down. But I just want to point out that's not for 30 days. That's in general.
So while you may see sugar as harmless pleasure, for your kidneys, it can be the difference between lifelong health and a slow, silent decline. Chronic sugar intake sparks inflammation, not just in your waistline, but inside your organs. High blood sugar triggers oxidative stress, which inflames the kidney tissues and makes them more vulnerable to scarring. Once scar tissue forms, kidney function declines permanently.
Ha! Now they're saying increased blood glucose creates scarring, which is permanent damage. So this 30 days thing is a gimmick. Fine, this information is valuable, but don't get sucked into this 30 days thing, because it's really about changing your diet for a lifetime. Because once you do the damage, it can be hard, if not impossible, to undo the damage.
But within 30 days of quitting sugar, research shows that inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein, CRP, begin to fall. Lower inflammation means less damage to blood vessels and kidney tissues, preserving their ability to filter.
What we're really saying here is that in the first 30 days, things are going to turn around. But it's not like you can just go back.
This reduction in inflammation also brings side benefits: clearer skin, fewer headaches, and more stable energy. It's proof that kidney health is deeply connected to overall body wellness.
It is kind of funny because once I took out sugar from my diet, my skin completely cleared up. I wouldn't break out very much anyway. I don't break out at all anymore. If I break out, it's because I had some sugar. It's like almost an automatic.
It's important to remember that 30 days is not the finish line, but
There
the
we
starting
go.
point.
There
like
we
a trial
go.
run, it shows you how powerful sugar-free living can be. And once you see the difference in energy, mood, and kidney health, the question becomes, why go back?
Okay, so we got what we needed to get out of this video. What we've learned is that, so you eat a lot of donuts, or, sodas, or orange juice. You put a lot of strain on your kidneys because they have to process all that glucose, and they're not built to process that much glucose, that much sugar. So the less you take in sugar, the less your body has to work to process, the less your kidneys have to work to process, the better. I was like, what's a good way to end that sentence? It's just the less it has to process, the better, the healthier you are. We know that kidney damage can happen for a very, very long time in your body, and you will get no noticeable signals, none that we've identified. Your body may not start making identifiable signals until you have already done 75% too much damage, I think is what they're trying to say. Like, the damage has gone very, very far before your body starts indicating to you that you have kidney damage. I would ask, is it reasonable to assume that, like, if you have a lot of breakouts, maybe that could be an indicator? Maybe that's part of your body's signaling system. If your reduction in sugar intake means a reduction in acne, this is just like one small sliver, but like if your reduction in sugar intake means a reduction in acne, could we not venture to ask that maybe the acne is one of those early warning signs? I'm not saying don't read into this and say, oh my God, I have acne, which means my kidneys are failing. This is just me asking some questions. And these are questions that I think people should answer, Anyway, your body will not start giving you and your doctor noticeable signals of kidney damage until maybe it has gone too far. Some of the kidney damage can be permanent. You're not going to be able to reverse it. But the best thing that you can do is to reduce your sugar intake, and you are going to start seeing the benefits of doing that over the first 30 days. Now, your first week might be very difficult because your body's going to go through a withdrawal process, and it's going to make it very uncomfortable. But if you can go through those first 30 days, you should start seeing signs that your body, the pressure on your body is going down, things are working as they should start working. And then if you can maintain keeping that love, get through that first 30 days and then move forward with a healthier low sugar diet, it will give your body time to begin to heal what is healable. So that is what we learned. And if you think anything that I've said is wrong, you want me to correct anything, remember, I'm not a scientist. I am just a human being trying to understand a video I'm watching on YouTube. So feel free to put in the comments what you think I got wrong. And yeah, that's it. I will tell the algorithm to give you something fun to watch next. So talk to you guys later. Bye.